So, good day everyone. Today we'll be discussing 3 instructional strategies that enhance students' reading comprehension and metacognition. Let me just share my slide here. Okay. And we will compare these strategies, discuss their implementation, and demonstrate the most effective one for fostering independent readers. So the 3 strategies that we're gonna discuss today are self-monitoring, decoding repair, and comprehension repair. Okay, next one. Okay, there you go. So to compare these strategies, we're gonna start with self-monitoring. So for the self-monitoring strategies, the goal is to help all students become independent readers. The target students are everyone, so it can be applied to the whole class. Alright, for the grade level, it's elementary to high school. And then the materials needed are checklists and organizers. So the teacher preparation is moderate. So when to use this strategy, it's during and after reading. The during and after reading session. So the setting would be the whole class, small groups, and individual. Now for the decoding repair, it's essential for struggling readers who need more recognition skills. So this is more of like a remedial approach. So the target students here would be struggling readers. And then for the grade level, it's applied to the early grades, since this is like the foundational level of learning literacy. And then it can also be applied to up to high school level. Right, the materials needed are phonics charts, flashcards, and audio tools. So the teacher preparation here is pretty high because you have a lot of physical objects that you need to present to your reader or to your student. Okay, so when do you use this method? It's during reading. So the setting here, since it's like a remedial approach or remedial treatment, it's gonna be through small groups and individual. Now the last one is comprehension repair. It ensures deeper understanding, making it suitable for older students. So all students, especially struggling readers, are the target target students for this strategy. Okay, so for the grade level, it's going to be upper elementary to high school, since it would have to use more complex passages or more complex texts. Okay, so the materials needed here are a lot of text or sample passages and sample books. And then you have to prepare question prompts, visual aids. Okay, so the teacher preparation here is moderate. Now, when do you use it? It's before, during, and after reading. So it could be applied through the whole class, it could be small groups, and individual. Oh, where's my slide? Okay, so first is the self-monitoring strategies. Okay, our first thing to do is to introduce the concept. So you'd have to explain what self-monitoring is and why it's important. Okay. Then next, you'd have to model the strategy. You'd have to use think aloud techniques. And then you'd have to teach self-questioning, like have students ask, do I understand this? The next, you'd have to use graphic organizers. You'd have to provide checklists or comprehension charts. Okay, after all these, after you've demonstrated all of these steps, you have to practice with guided reading. You're gonna allow students to apply these strategies on their own until they've independently and completely apply these strategies on their own. And then lastly, review and reflect. So you'd have to encourage discussions on comprehension. Okay, so for decoding repair strategies, the things you need to do are to teach phonemic awareness and phonics rules explicitly, encourage rereading and use of context clues, teach morphological analysis like roots, prefixes, and suffixes, use visual and auditory support, apply decoding in real text, and monitoring progress with assessments. And then last but not the least is comprehension repair strategies. The things you need to do are, first of all, is to teach students to identify comprehension breakdowns. So what are comprehension breakdowns? Basically, these are when the student doesn't understand what the text means or what is going on with the story. Okay, what you need to do is to encourage them to reread, summarize, or visualize what they've just read. And then you could also teach them questioning techniques, and then have them paraphrase difficult sections, and then promote metacognitive reflection. Okay, now to demonstrate a strategy, I'll be using self-monitoring. Okay, so the very first thing that you have to do is to think aloud. Alright, so first you'd have to read a passage aloud. Okay, for example, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow. Alright, and then the next thing you'd have to do is to verbalize your thoughts. Okay, like, I wonder what horizon means. Let me use context clues. Or maybe I could think of a related word for this sentence. Okay, so I do know that there's a word called horizontal line. So it looks like this. So maybe in this sentence, horizon means the land from afar. It kind of looks like a horizontal line. Okay, so maybe that's the meaning of this text. Okay, so the next thing you'd have to do is to model self-questioning. Like, did I understand this sentence? What is the main idea? Okay, what did I learn from this? What were the words that I did not understand? How did I find out about it? Okay, so after all of this thinking aloud, what you're gonna do is show a checklist just to track what you've absorbed so far. For example, I can understand the main idea, I can define difficult words using context clues, and then I can summarize what I've read. And then lastly, after thinking aloud and using a checklist, it's time for the student to do his part. Okay, you're gonna assign a short passage and then ask students to apply self-monitoring strategies. Okay, so let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses for each strategy. For me, all three strategies are essential and important, but I think it would work best when they're combined, so you don't have to be limited to just one approach. Okay, so first things first, self-monitoring. The strength would be is to let the students be independent. It encourages independence. However, the weakness is that it requires guidance and practice. Now, for the decoding repair, it improves word recognition. However, it could also be time consuming. Okay? And then lastly, for the comprehension repair, The strength would be the strength is, and then lastly for comprehension repair, the strength is that it enhances deep understanding, but it can be challenging for younger students. Okay, now to recap, self monitoring fosters long term reading independence. Decoding repair is crucial for beginner and struggling readers. And then comprehension repair deepens understanding of complex texts. Okay, so what are our recommendations? So, first things first, we have to scaffold strategies based on students' needs. Okay, because each child is different. They could have had different learning levels or skills such as maybe. Okay. So, next is our recommendations. So, first things first. Okay. So next is our recommendations. Okay, so now we'll be talking. Fuck, I'm so sleepy, bro. Okay. Alright, next is our recommendations. Okay. Next we'll be talking about our recommendations. For the first one, you'd have to scaffold strategies based on student needs. So each child is different. Maybe a student here requires more practice with word recognition. Another child could be struggling with identifying or retrieving vocabulary. So you would have to approach the session or the lesson into different ways, okay, depending on what is the child's needs. Next is to integrate digital tools such as text to speech, interactive interactive checklists, okay. And the next is that you'd have to train teachers on an effective implementation, because not all teachers are aware of the proper practices, or maybe they're not equipped with the proper material to teach literacy and language effectively. Okay? And then lastly, you'd have to encourage student reflection to improve comprehension skills. Okay? Alright, so that is all for today. And thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I'll see you next time.